Will, it's a pleasure to see you today.
It's lovely to meet you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
Originally came from the Philippines. I was born and raised there.
And how old were you
And
when you came to England?
I think I was 22.
Okay,
It was
so
back in 2008.
and when you were in the Philippines, when you were at school, did you have an idea about what you'd like to do as a job when you were older?
No, I didn't. Actually, it's funny because when I was in high school, I had obviously a dream what I wanted to become, and then it was just a family thing that I ended up doing something that there was not my choice, like going to uni.
Yeah.
I went to uni and I took midwifery nursing, and that was not my choice. So I just finished the uni, and I put myself in a lot of pressure to finish it in that span of time because I wanted to finish it and get out of family bubble.
Yeah.
And as soon as I finished that, and then I had my choice of what I wanted to do with my life. So yeah, I moved to a different city and doing my first job was completely different to what I studied from the uni.
And what was your first job?
A call center agent.
A call center agent. Yeah. Was that in the Philippines?
Yeah, it was in the Philippines.
Did you enjoy that?
I did, yeah, until one of my mates came over from our hometown, and I spent time with him. And obviously, the last time I saw him was back in high school, and there was about 5 to 6 years gap between the last time I saw him. So he came over to the same city, and I forgot my job at the time being because I was enjoying the moment. Then I got to the point without realizing it got to the point that I felt like my contract was subject to termination, and then that's when I realized what have I done. And he came over to the same city because he enrolled himself to Anglia Ruskin University
Oh, the Ruskin.
in Chelmsford. And then, so yeah, that's kind of actually how I came to England as well, because I took the same path as he did. And that's what brought me here.
And what was the first thing you did when you were here? Work.
Well, I got myself enrolled to this college in London, Golders Green College, and I was studying level 3 for health and social care.
So you
And
knew
that's where
you
everything
made the
started.
decision that care perhaps was.
I didn't know what was going to happen. Well, basically, I was just about to become jobless, and I was worrying so much about it. And with my family support, obviously, I had to do what my friend did, and yeah,
And that was care related.
care related, yeah. So I came over, and I was studying this course in that college, and there was a work placement as well that you can work to support yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
Work at the same time while studying.
And what was that work placement?
It was in a care home.
Okay, so that was your first experience.
Yeah.
Of and back in the Philippines, what's the social care system like?
It's not as a huge thing here. I mean,
Is there much
I think
more?
it's got to do with the culture because we're very family-oriented people.
So you bring older
take care
family
of the elderlies in the family, and yeah, we've got obviously a home for elderlies as well, but it's not as huge as what we have here in England.
So was that a surprise to you how big
Yes,
the care
absolutely.
industry is
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
So what was your first job? What was your
First role?
What was your first role within a care
It was
home?
care assistant.
And so what would that involve? What would a normal day be like?
Involves supporting the residents from the minute that they wake up till they go to bed at night. Even like throughout their sleep, you
can stay over.
You stay over, and you oversee their safety and make sure they're all okay.
What was your first day like?
Oh, I freaked out.
Because you didn't know what to expect. It was
Of
a
course,
surprise.
yeah, of course. And there's a lot of it because obviously it's a completely different culture. And everyone's accent was, I mean, I was working, I was a call center agent before I came over to England, but I was working for an American company.
Ah, and you have a kind of American English.
Yeah, and it's
The
slightly
Philippine
different.
English is a bit
Yeah.
American English, isn't it?
Yeah, not just that. and everything as well, the food, the weather, the clothing, the lifestyle. But probably because I was in such a young age when I came over, so it was easier for me to adapt.
What did you do next? What was the next thing you did?
Well, as soon as I was doing that role for a year, then then I wanted to progress. I wanted to do something else because I was getting jealous of in a care home. You as a carer, you have a senior carer above you, and this role is responsible for all the medications and that. And while I was doing that for a year, I felt really like I really want to do that, really want to do that, really want to do that. It took me a year to finally make up my mind and did that eventually.
So you had to do some training and...
I had to, well, I couldn't do it in the company I was working for. So I had to apply somewhere else. And I did, and they gave me a chance and they provided all the trainings, obviously medication training, leadership as well. They obviously helped to develop that in me.
Yeah, and so you were able to do some of the training on site, as it were, as part of your work. And is that where you are now? You're at Hazel Court?
Yeah, I'm Hazel Court, just not where I am now. I've moved from different companies to the other.
So you've had how many homes have
I
you
think
worked in?
In the last 14 years, about 4.
Okay.
I didn't start working at Hazel until 2017, I think that was.
Right.
And again, that was prior to that, I was a care team leader somewhere else, and then again wanted to progress.
So, what's your official role? What's your job title now?
When I first joined Hazel Court, that's the role that I'm.
And what's that role? Just
deputy manager.
So you're the deputy manager. So you've worked your way up.
Yeah.
So
pretty
what's
much
next for you?
Home manager.
Yeah. And it's great actually because there aren't that many places of work where you can make that jump.
Yeah.
And do it within the job itself.
Yeah.
You know, to train within the job itself. What do you like about care work?
Oh, there's actually a lot. I think more than anything else, it's that rewarding feeling that it gives you at the end of each day. That's what I really like about. I mean, I don't want to be sitting here and feel like, and be totally what is the word? Hypocrite about it, that it's not a stressful job, because it really is. It actually is. But it's when you come home and you feel like, you come home and you sit in the kitchen or in your garden or do whatever you do for relaxation after work. And then you think about how's your day has been, and you kind of reflect and realize that you've actually spent time working.
It's almost like you do become part of a family.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, not just a family with the
you're
residents.
You're everyone for them.
Staff.
You're a friend. You're the brother. You're the sister. You're an advocate. You're anybody really.
Yeah, and even after a very stressful day, that feeling that it leaves you with, that you've done good, that you've helped people. There aren't that many jobs where you actually see the results of your work right in front of you.
Yeah.
When somebody says, "Oh, thank you," and I think that's one of the wonderful things about care. You do feel you're doing important work. Do you think that the retention of staff is a problem? I mean, you must see it. Do you get involved in the interviewing of new staff?
I'm always part of the process.
And can you tell pretty much straight away whether they're right for care or not?
Yes, you can. But you get people that you don't feel like they're for it, but you give them a chance, and the people are people at the end of the day. We've always got this caring in our heart. As much as you put yourself across as someone that you're tough and all that, but you've got that in your heart. So we kind of give people a chance and help them to bring that out of them.
Yeah. If somebody was coming up to you and said, "I've never done care work before, but I'm interested,"
I would take you.
You'd say yes. Grab that person.
There's a lot of trainings for you, And at the end of the day, you're not going to be working on your own and not to learn how to care, because you're going to be working with people. And even like when you start off care, when you start working in care, you get like shadow shifts, and you tend to shadow existing staff, and you get to see how they actually deal with things and stuff.
What do you think the barriers to getting people in to work in care homes? Because there is a bit of a recruitment crisis at the moment.
Yeah,
there aren't
yeah.
enough people. Why do you think that is?
It's difficult. I've had a lot of conversation with the other managers about it, because obviously we would have applicants that are very interested, you know, in doing it, and they would smash the interview, and they'd give you all the impression that they've got a lot of potentials, and then you ask them to come back and bring all the necessary requirements for, you know, to start, and you would not hear anything from them, and that has been like getting quite what's the word, common.
Yeah, it becomes a frequent thing.
Yeah, and we wonder why. You just don't know.
Do you think it's
what's going on?
Part of it is pay, that the pay isn't enough to attract them?
I don't think so. I mean, like maybe for some people, but personally, if you're really into care, that should not matter much. And I don't want to be hypocrite about it, but I mean, you know,
I think some
it's
people
it's not just money.
I think people have a misconception about care work, that a care home might be a depressing place.
I know, it's definitely not.
No, I mean,
it's on you. If you want it to be like a depressing place, then eat quite easily as just the minute you walk in, be miserable so you can.
With a cloud.
Exactly. It's entirely up to you as a carer.
Yeah. Because my experience of care homes is people laugh a lot. There's a lot of laughter.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of atmosphere that every manager has been promoting. You know, everyone's happy and content, you know?
Yeah. What was it like for you during the pandemic?
Oh, it was very difficult. Whew. It was really difficult. I mean, like, I think it's for all the managers across the industry. It's the constant change of the guidelines, and sometimes it's so difficult to keep up with it, you know? It's in care, it's all about safety, and that pandemic was everyone's
challenge.
Yeah. It was every manager's nightmare, to be honest with you.
And not everyone is right for care. What do you think? What do you think the traits that you would look for someone that is right to work in care?
I don't agree with that. I think everyone is right for care.
You think everyone's
right for care?
Everybody could do it.
Yeah.
We were talking to someone who said everybody should spend a mandatory 6 weeks working in a care home so they know what it's like.
Well, like I said previously, we've got that care inside us because we're human.
Yeah.
We care, you know? And I think it's got to do with some people's got fear. You know, you just don't want to care. But you've always got that, and everyone is capable to care.
It's a natural
can be a carer.
human reaction, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Care.
You go to Tesco and care about people around you, and if someone's fallen, you be there for the person, or, you know.
Yeah, it's important. What parts of your job make you the happiest?
I think it's because you work with your heart, and obviously I don't want to be dramatic here, but you need to get your heart to function, you know, and by doing that and a work, and you're earning at the same time, you can ask for more than that, can you? Really?
No, and we've talked to people who have found that actually going through the process of perhaps loss and death within a care home as a worker prepares you for your own experiences.
Yeah.
Prepares you for your own losses in life. You know, you're able to cope because you've been there, you've done it within the home.
I mean, like, I'm actually 100% happy to deal with how to care for somebody that's on that stage, but when it gets to the point where, let me just get it straight, it's breaking the news to the family, that is so hard. You don't know where to start. You don't know which bit they're going to, or are going to say a happy hello or hi over the phone, or it's
Yeah.
difficult.
But you must get
It's
used
quite
to that. I
challenging.
guess you get
Yeah,
used to that a
yeah,
bit, and
yeah,
you learn the
yeah.
ways to do
What
it.
I do, because I try to not to avoid that. I always avoid it. I don't, because obviously that's the most difficult part for me. But what I do with that situation, if a resident get to that stage of their life, I would constantly speak to the family day after day. Then
Yeah.
they get the update, and it's not going to be like shocking for them when.
No, so perhaps
Do you know
that's
what I mean?
better.
Like
Yeah.
they've got the update, the progress of how they deteriorate, and everyday progress. I'll speak to them.
We've asked everybody if they have a funny story, i.e., something that has happened with a resident that really made you laugh.
I've got a lot to share. The funniest day for me at work, to be honest with you, is when I get to be myself, and that's how it should be anyway, and the residents can be themselves as well. Each of us have got this we've got this inner child inside us. Some people would not admit that, but we do.
Everybody does.
And and then the residents can get that inner child out of them as well. And it's just when they it's hard to explain. Like, it's the banter, you know. When you can have banter with them, that's the funniest moment ever that you can have with them. I promise you that. I mean, I'm trying to give you an example. So I would be like pushing a medication trolley one point, and this woman would always have banter with them. She adores me and I adore her. And I would just push my trolley down the corridor, and she'd be standing there, and I'd be like, move, like that. And then she was like, I'll move your ass in a minute. I was like, don't be so rude. And we just end up giggling, and that's a lot of similar stories. It's just banter, like acting like we don't care to each other, but we really do.
But of course, banter like that can only happen when you know someone very well.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing about care homes, you get to know people very, very well. And I found that people sometimes have less inhibitions, can be quite naughty.
Yeah.
And that can be very funny in itself. And there's lots of stories, isn't there? And of course, it's not all fun and games.
Yeah. But you can't just have that with anybody. You have to do that with a resident that really comfortable to that that can deal with banters as well.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. What really works for them, what they really notice from the staff is the staff's characters. That's what really what drawn them to the staff, or because it's your energy. It's because that's all they could feel. They don't have this visual assessment of how you look like in front of them. They don't have that. It's the energy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so, because as a carer, you've got a duty of one of your roles is to report everything that you notice from a resident, because obviously you're the one that assists them with personal care, with food and everything, and you get to have this little conversation with them, and that they don't really express to other people, and they would to you because you're there assisting them, and and as a carer, you've got a responsibility to report that to the senior. That's the advocacy that I was talking about. You are expressing it on their behalf to the senior in charge of the shift.
Yeah, and you become their spokesperson.
Yes.
I think that's important. Well, thank you ever so much. I hope it wasn't as traumatic as you thought.
Oh, God.
You've done really well.
I've stopped breathing.
You've done really well.
Understand.
So,
have I really?
You've been fantastic. Thank you so much.